So in today's video, we're going to cover the indictment of the media. I'm going to go step by step on how the media tried to exploit this Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman thing. And believe me, when you line it all up from front to beginning, it's pretty shocking. Which we already know the MSM is fake propaganda. But once I spell this out for you, I'm telling you, this is mind-blowing, shocking revelations here. So let's get to the video, shall we?
Alrighty, so when this thing started, the media first came out day one and reported a white night watchman shot an unarmed black child in a white neighborhood. So, sounds really bad. It's not quite what the media tried to portray it to be in the beginning. First off, the media usually uses, when these things happen, they go straight to Facebook and pull pictures off of Facebook, and that's the pictures that they use for the story. Not so in this case. If they would have went to Facebook or MySpace and pulled Trayvon Martin's pictures, they would have had a picture something like this. Okay? But they didn't do that. No, they dug. They literally had to dig, and they got a picture of Trayvon Martin's middle school picture. Sweet kid. And, you know, the kid next door. But you know what? I'm not judging him, but my point is, they should use current pictures. And then they did the same thing for George Zimmerman. They went and they got an old picture of him, a mugshot, to make him look a little bit more menacing than he normally would. And they also I did this in an earlier video, they lightened his skin color, and they stretched the picture out, as some of you had noticed, and made his head bigger and fatter. Was they ignored the police report, because in the police report they had eyewitness testimonies, and the eyewitness testimony stated that George Zimmerman was on his back. The guy with the red shirt, which was George Zimmerman, was on his back being pummeled
through his front door about what he saw last night during a fight that turned into a deadly shooting.
The guy on the bottom, who I believe had a red sweater on, was yelling to me, "Help, help."
And the media pretty much ignored that. Instead of running that story over and over again and pointing out the fact that, hey, George Zimmerman was on his back getting beat up, they ran it once. And then once they realized that that wasn't really the narrative that they wanted, they didn't run it again. Next off, we have the fact that NBC, and so a side note about NBC, I'm going to go off on a little side rant here because I don't know if a lot of you guys understand how closely NBC and the White House work together. Jeffrey Email is the CEO of GE. GE made $14 billion in 2010 and paid no taxes. They're also a major contributor to Barack Obama. Jeffrey Email, the CEO, at the same time as he paid no taxes, was also named head of the White House Job Council and acted as a financial advisor to Barack Obama. So here he is, and even sat in Barack Obama's box during the State of the Union address. GE owns MSNBC. And the White House and MSNBC are like this. And, you know, you got MSNBC, NBC, that employs Al Sharpton. Who would ever hire Al Sharpton? So that was my side rant on MSNBC and how MSNBC and the White House are basically like this. So back to the main story. NBC was caught editing the audio to make it sound more racist. And I'll play the clip here.
This guy looks like he's up to no good. He looks black.
Did you see what he was wearing?
Yeah, dark. This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining and he's just walking around looking about.
Okay, and this guy, is he white, black, or Hispanic?
He looks black.
And that's not easy to do, by the way. I edit audio all the time. It takes a little bit of work. It's not like they just picked and played a certain part of the police tape on air. That's not what they did. They literally cut and chopped up the audio, as you know. Okay, the next thing that the media did was they released a blurry police footage video of George Zimmerman. And in the blurry police footage video of George Zimmerman, you couldn't see any of the damage on the back of his head. And I have to say, this had to be done on purpose. And they degraded the quality of the video so that you couldn't see any of the damage on the back of George Zimmerman's head.
And the report says that he was treated in the back of the car, but clearly
No blood.
no blood, and clearly it does not seem like any physical injuries.
Now, if you think of that, That's very damaging to the mainstream media's credibility, wouldn't you think? Because they were so desperate to maintain that narrative that they had started. So, you had CNN and them analyzing the 911 call from George Zimmerman. And they had the audio where supposedly you heard coon. And I'll play that right now. They like cleaned it up and did some stuff to it, analyzed it, and it came out with some crackling.
Room 31 at CNN Center in Atlanta. This is one of the most sophisticated audio edit suites in the broadcast news business.
You may not have heard the moment in question because it was so quick.
How long does that portion last that everyone's talking about?
A second, 18 frames.
Second, 18 frames, so that's about 1.6 seconds.
Correct.
So let's listen to it like 10 times in a row if we can.
And it's like, oh, it says coon. Everyone hears it. Did you hear? I hear coon in there. It couldn't be anything else. Sounds like coon. And they were trying to make the case that, I don't know, George Zimmerman somehow said coon at one point. Doesn't make any sense. But that was what they were trying to say. And when I listened to it the first time, I couldn't believe that they were even playing that on air. But I've heard EVPs that are more clear than that. And if you don't know what an EVP is, that's where you leave a recorder sitting and the ghost says something to the recorder. And you'll get some muffled thing like, and you're like, oh, that's what an EVP is. So, and then after all this has gone on, George Zimmerman is finally arrested and charged with second-degree murder. But now, in hindsight, I realize what they were doing. A, they wanted to get this thing over with politically. It was for political reasons that they charged him with second-degree murder, first off. And I can say that now because this here has been released of George Zimmerman's head, the back of his head. And many law professors are now saying that for him to be charged with second-degree murder, with the prosecution having this available to them of the back of George Zimmerman's head, they'll never be able to get a second-degree murder charge to stick with that. So, they arrested him for political reasons. That's now clear. And this is the other thing. A lot of people are now saying that the news had this picture available to them for a while and elected not to show it. I've seen that on 3 or 4 different articles now, that there's some question to how long the media had this picture available to them and just decided not to show it. And why in the world would the prosecutor charge this man with second-degree murder when this picture exists? And the only answer is they've charged him and arrested him for political reasons. Because they were afraid people were going to start rioting, and they bitched up. But that's the indictment of the media. This video has been and is the indictment of the media on the Trayvon Martin George Zimmerman case. And as always, like this video, subscribe, and comment below. All us out.